Well, if you had to choose just one word to describe Jessica Smith, it would be resilient. She was born without a left hand and forearm, then at 18 months old suffered third-degree burns to 15% of her body. And while she found success in the pool as a teenager, something still wasn't quite right.
At just 21, Jessica's battle with depression and eating disorders forced her into an early retirement. But the Paralympian has since turned her life around, sharing her inspiring journey of self-acceptance as an author, motivational speaker and a champion for body positivity. And we welcome Jessica Smith live from our Melbourne studio. Jess, hello. Take us back. When did your body image struggles begin?
To be honest, from as much as I can remember, I always knew that I was different, and because of the way that I looked, which made me feel different. So my whole childhood was plagued with low self-esteem. But certainly, you know, once I hit my teenage years, going through puberty and that very vulnerable stage, my body image issues became more profound. You know, I didn't fit the societal norms, and knowing that made me ultra aware of my body and made me focus on it in a very negative way.
Right, so your diet, for example, was that something you felt that you couldn't control?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I came to a place in my life where I felt completely out of control. I couldn't control the fact that I had a disability or that I had, you know, prominent scarring. And as much as I wanted to change those things, I knew that I couldn't. So I convinced myself if I could change everything else about my body, then maybe I'd be accepted and maybe I'd have reached that level of perfection and happiness. And so, yes, I started to control my weight through manipulating my food intake. And it was a devastating time. You know, anyone who has experienced, you know, the hellish nightmare of anorexia and bulimia will tell you just how devastating it can be, not just for the person suffering, but, you know, for me, it was my entire family. And, you know, it was a time when I just don't even remember that person. You know, it's not who I am today. So much guilt, so much shame, and the self-hatred that I had towards myself was just harrowing.
Was it a roller coaster, Jess? Did you feel like you could get off, or did you feel like it was just too far gone and you just had to keep going?
I believed I could get off, and I think that's part of having such an insidious mental illness, is that you believe that you'll be able to stop at any moment, and then all of a sudden, in my story, it was a decade later living with these illnesses, and I realised, no, that, you know, the irony of thinking that I was in control when in actual fact it was controlling me.
And obviously controlling enough that it ended your swimming career. How devastating was that for you?
To get to the place where I realised that my eating disorder had, you know, destroyed those hopes and aspirations that I had for myself in the pool, even though I'd already achieved so much, it was absolutely devastating. And, you know, to think that I had to be accepting that it was because of my eating disorder that I was no longer able to achieve and accomplish what I wanted to do, reaching that moment was my rock bottom for sure.
You ended up going to rehab, you were 21. Is that, I guess, what's kick-started your road to recovery?
Yes, certainly. I mean, being so young and being admitted to rehab was definitely an eye-opening experience, but I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that. And I'm so grateful for the support and treatment that I received, because it's enabled me to continue on this recovery journey, which I know will be lifelong.
And Jess, your story is really now helping others. In 2012, you released a video, it went viral, sparked a bit of a global movement about body positivity. Do you think we've seen a change since then?
Yes, certainly. I think there's a lot of positive movements that are taking place to help promote positive body image, but I do think we still have a long way to go. Body image is such a complex term, and it's often very misunderstood. You know, it's about how we think and feel about our appearance, and I would really like to start to see a shift from focusing on body, so like beauty and aesthetics, and opening up our realm of looking at diversity in more broader terms. So considering race, gender, sexuality, ethnicity, mental health, because all of those things impact how we think and feel about our appearance. And I think once we open the conversation and dialogue up to include those components, then we're going to start to see more profound changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. You have published a book. It was called Little Jessica Goes to School. Was that very important for you to do something like that?
Yeah, it was a really proud moment. You know, I wanted to create a resource that was fun for children, that helped educate them about difference and diversity. And Little Miss Jessica Goes to School is about a little girl with one arm on her first day at school, which can be a daunting experience for any young child. And she experiences what it's like to be different. But it's a beautiful story that follows the journey of Jessica and her classmates, where they realise, in fact, they're all different, but it's those differences that bring them together, not isolate them. And I wanted it to be not just a resource for children with a disability, but all kids, because I think it's a fabulous tool for parents and teachers to start conversation and introducing these topics of diversity at a much younger age. So yeah, becoming a mum made it even more important, but it's definitely one of my proudest achievements so far.
Yeah, 2 beautiful kids of your own. Your little girl's 2.5. Your little boy's only 4 months, so you're looking fresh for someone so busy.
Thank you.
What's the hope for your 2 little ones? I guess what's the message from your own story that you hope for young kids growing up today?
Look, I never want anyone to experience the turmoil and anguish that I did, and I think every parent's hope is that their child will feel comfortable and confident with who they are. And I think I have a responsibility to lead by example and show them through my behaviours that differences are something to be embraced, and I just hope that I can be there to support them through their life journey and encourage them to get to a place where they realise that uniqueness and vulnerability are actually really, really powerful characteristics to possess.
You're great, Jess. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I concur, right? We're both just sitting here going, gosh, she's unreal.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thank
Wonderful
you
to have you on the
so
show.
much. Lovely.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Details for Little Jessica Goes to School are available on our website.
And if you or anyone you know is seeking support, the numbers for Lifeline and the Butterfly Foundation are now on the screen.